On the sewing side of the Husqvarna Viking Designer EPIC 2, there is more than one way to select stitches. When you turn it on, you'll notice that you'll come to the main screen of utility stitches. You have different categories of stitches grouped together under the A and B. They'll give you an idea what they're called. B is some applique stitches. C is heirloom stitches. Now I haven't selected a stitch just yet, so we do see that the straight stitch, if I stepped on the foot control, would be what is going to stitch. So we can go ahead and touch the stitch. Right now, I'm going to leave this up just so it appears and we're reminded that if I have a foot that only has 7 millimeter width availability, that this setting is going to stitch a full 9 millimeters wide. So it's a little update of how wide that is going to stitch. We also have at any given time the ability to touch the question mark. When it's touched, it will pulsate blue, and if you were to touch a stitch, it will tell you what that stitch is. That one happens to be a roll and whip stitch. A fully adjustable zigzag can be used for rolling the whip technique. So that's kind of a fun, I didn't even know that stitch was in there, but there it is. I need to actually have the machine tell me what every stitch is. If you want to zoom in on stitches, you can touch with 2 fingers and drag out or drag in, depending on how much you want to see of a particular stitch. You can also swipe to the side here. So here I was touching each category. I can slide across there if I'm looking for stitches towards the end of the row. But I can slide across here as I move from group to group. Just remember to slide up because there usually are more stitches below that you won't see until you actually slide up. Now we're in specialty stitches, so just a quick little idea. The foot that comes up will be a question mark, so touch the question mark and the stitch and it will tell you which foot is designed to be used with that stitch. Since we're here, this group has quite a few different feet. This one giving you the use of the yarn embellishment foot set, gives you a part number so you can find that at your local Husqvarna Viking retailer. So this is one way to pick stitches. The other way to pick stitches is to go to the Joy OS Advisor. Tell the machine which fabric you're working on. So today if I'm working on some fleece and I'm wanting to do some a technique of, how about basic sewing techniques. Let's talk about doing a buttonhole. So I just told the machine what fabric I'm working on, what I want to do on it, and it brought up the information that I need. So that's all good. You can go through that. But what it did was it actually took me to the exact buttonhole that I should be using for that particular fabric. It's recommending I use a stretch needle, something to stabilize behind this buttonhole, this foot, a corded technique, and we're all set to go. So there's more than one way to pick stitches. If you wanted to just go to the buttonhole menu and pick your own buttonhole, that's an option for you as well. And then it is still guided by your fabric selection, which if you don't know which fabric you're working on, I do recommend that you do slide that back and choose woven medium. That's like a nice neutral, and you can pick, I want to sew a seam, and for that, it actually will also take to the stitch length that that stitch should be on that particular fabric. So I hope you'll give this a try of ways that you can choose stitches, including the Joy OS Advisor way.